Okay, Chapter 8 is Learning and Cognition in Context. There's not a lot of information I wanted to pull out for you out of this chapter. I mean, there's lots that you can read and lots of good stuff in it, but just about three main things I want to talk about. So I wanted to start today with the basic assumptions of contextual theories. Remember that a contextual theory is a theory of learning that focuses on how people's general physical, social, and or cultural surroundings support their learning development and behavior. All right, so with that in mind, some of the assumptions around it. Number one, the brain functions in close collaboration with rather than in relatively isolation from the rest of the body. We know that because if you just stop and think about, let's say a burn even, you touch your finger, ladies, to the curling iron, maybe some gentlemen. You touch your finger to the curling iron, that registers movement. It goes to your brain. The brain says, "Oh, that's hot. Move your finger," and then you do. So we know that it's not in isolation, that it all does function together. Thinking and learning are often intimately intertwined with the learner's physical actions and reactions. Thus, when we touch a hot iron, curling iron, the next time we're around a curling iron, I would bet we're a lot more careful. We are at my household anyway. So that is where that thinking and learning are intertwined together. Number two, acquired knowledge and skills are often tied to a limited set of activities and environments. And one in particular piece I wanted to bring out of that one is when learners acquire new information, behaviors, and ways of thinking in a particular situation, they may use the things they've learned only when they're in that same situation once again. That's where the meaningful learning comes into play. When students actually learn material in a meaningful learning set, they realize there's other places they can use that knowledge besides just in that particular situation. Number three, learners often think and perform more effectively when they can offload some of the cognitive burden onto something or someone else. That is quite a big one. Information processing theory takes place in working memory, if you remember. So if we shift some of that cognitive load elsewhere, it makes it easier and it doesn't put so much pressure on the memory. Number four, learners sometimes learn more effectively when they collaborate with others to co-construct meaning. Go, Miss Smith, as you're working in your groups. As a group, learners can often make better sense of a situation than they might do on their own, and I think a big reason of that is like even when I'm meeting with your small groups and we're doing the activities, sometimes I'm refocusing you, sometimes I'm redirecting you, sometimes I'm giving you hints. I think just a group collaboration, you get a greater understanding because, yes, a teacher should know what they're talking about and be able to explain it. But some of the issue sometimes is how I say it as the teacher and how you respond to it as the learner. When you're talking to your own kind, we'll say, you're more apt to understand the directions, more apt to perhaps understand the material because it's spoken in your language, if that makes sense. Social constructed knowledge is shared by two or more people simultaneously. That's a perspective known as social constructivism. It focuses on such collective efforts to impose meaning to the world. An effective way of promoting social constructivism in your classroom might be having two students work together to construct the meaning of a proverb, such as give credit where credit is due. The students would then sit down and try to come up with a meaning for that, and then maybe defend and give evidence of their reason why. Number five, with the help and guidance of more knowledgeable individuals, learners benefit from the accumulated wisdom of their culture group. In other words, adults mediate new situations for children. Then over time, children gradually internalize adult ways of interpreting and addressing day-to-day events until they themselves become the experts who guide future generations. Now, what that is saying, though, is that's the good and the bad and the ugly sometimes. So as parents, if we're not very careful what we're instilling in the student or in our children, then all of a sudden some of our wicked ways, we'll call it, could come out. All right, I've attached 5 videos for you to watch. None of them I don't think is very long, if I remember right. If you don't have time to watch all of them, that's fine. Watch the ones that look like it would be interesting to you. And enjoy.